This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, so I've remembered to record, Sharon. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kate. I'm the Carer Practice Manager here at Life Without Barriers. And we also have Heidi, one of our foster carers, online as well today. Thank you for joining us, Heidi. So look, this morning I'm just going to go through a quick presentation around fostering, and then at the end we can have a little bit of a chat. There'll be a question and answer session. So feel free to ask me anything, or like I said, Heidi as well is here, one of our foster carers, who can, I guess, talk to you a bit about her experience as a foster carer with Life Without Barriers, and yeah, answer any questions that you might have. Okay, everyone's camera turned off, so nobody can see you, by the way. I think you can just see me in the presentation. Yeah, we'll get started. So look, today we'll explore, I guess, some answers to questions that people usually have about fostering. And, you know, I guess you'll get a better sense of whether you think fostering is right for you. And then my computer freezes just to make that a little bit difficult. Alrighty. I think we just have a couple more people joining. Good morning. We're just kicking off. My computer's just a little bit slow this morning, so apologies. Okay, so we will talk about Life Without Barriers. So who are Life Without Barriers? What is foster care? Sorry, I should have mentioned we have a chat function as well. Sorry, I was trying to talk to me. Okay. Okay, that's just Heidi. Sorry. So everyone, we do have a little chat function. So if you, that's okay. If you see the little voice bubble up here, if you have any questions and you want to just pop it into the chat, I can have a little look through as we're going, or else I'll go through them at the end. Or like I said, you're more than welcome to take yourself off mute and ask questions at the end as well. Okay, so we just have a few more people joining us. Welcome. Okay, so we're going to talk about who Life Without Barriers are. We're going to go through what foster care is, where are more foster care is needed, and are there different types of foster care. Going to talk a little bit about the children in care as well, and I'm going to send you some links for some videos from young people who have been in care and foster carers as well. It is in a PowerPoint, but the sound doesn't work very well over this webinar. So what we'll do is I'll send you the links in the chat, and you can watch those stories as well. And perhaps Heidi, who's one of our foster carers who's here with us this morning, might be able to share some stories as well. And then we're just going to talk a little bit about who can be a foster carer with Life Without Barriers, and go through a few frequently asked questions as well. And then if you're still interested after today's webinar, we'll just give you a little bit of an idea of where to next, and the different steps of our assessment process as well. Okay, so who is Life Without Barriers? So we're a leading social purpose organisation. We are based in over 440 communities across Australia. So support over 4,000 children and young people, and we have over 3,000 kinship and foster carers, and that's growing all the time. So we support over 5,000 people with a disability, and 1,800 people supported as participants through the NDIS. Again, I think that's probably actually grown quite a lot since we got these figures. And obviously asylum seekers and refugees as well. We have a program for them as well. So yeah, lots and lots of different programs. We support Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities across Australia. As you might be aware, the majority of children in foster care are Aboriginal. So we have over 60, nearly 70% of children in care are Aboriginal. And we do have in our family group homes in Broome and Kalgoorlie, 100% of the children there are Aboriginal as well, so a really high percentage. So yeah, obviously really, really important to us that we keep these young people connected to their culture and their communities, and follow the Aboriginal placement principles wherever possible. So constantly trying to recruit as well for Aboriginal foster carers for our children and young people. So what is foster care? So foster care is for children who need time away from their families, and that could be for a night, a week, a year, or until they reach adulthood. So I suppose there's various different types of foster care, which I'll go in and talk to you a little bit more about. But really, it's when children cannot safely live at home any longer. They will always try and look for family to care for these children first. But when they can't do that, a referral will come to us to try and find a home for these kids. So yeah, there are nearly 50,000 children unable to live safely at home in Australia, and sadly that number is just increasing all the time. So where are more foster carers needed? Well, absolutely everywhere, to be honest. I'll just show you like a few stats there from Australia. But as you'll see, there are over 1,600 children in foster care in Western Australia, and nearly 2,000 children in kinship and relative care as well. And again, we're seeing that number is actually increasing all the time. So are there different types of foster care? Yes, there are. So I guess when it comes to fostering, no two children are the same. And the reasons that children need to come into foster care, can differ greatly. So we do need different types of foster care. So we have different types here, which I'll talk to. So we've got respite care. This is usually for children who are already in full-time foster care. Usually children who tend to have higher needs, so they might have a disability or some quite complex behaviours. And it's really, really important for us that their primary foster carers have a break. So we have a lot of people who just provide that respite care. It can be, sometimes one weekend a month, or maybe it might be every second weekend, depending on the child's level of need. So really our respite carers, we just ask them to at least be available 1 to 2 weekends a month to be able to care for these children. And I guess these carers usually have a background in perhaps disability or nursing or teaching, or they may have some, prior experience caring for children, which is fantastic for us, because like I said, these tend to be the kids who do have more complex needs. So yeah, we have lots and lots of carers, and really all they do is respite. They just have kids on those weekends that we need to give their primary carers a break. Then we have our emergency or crisis care, and we have quite a few emergency foster carers. So basically, children get referred to us every day, and they need a home for that night. They need a safe place to go. A lot of the time, they've been just removed from family, or sometimes they may have already been in a foster placement which has broken down for whatever reason. But we're finding that a lot of these kids are just coming into care, and we need a safe place for them. The emergency foster care program is for children to stay in that family home from one night up to 21 nights. So it's usually that up to 3 weeks. And basically that allows us and the Department of Communities time to find a longer term placement for them. A lot of the time that's potentially with family, so they'll be looking and assessing families, seeing who's out there, or else looking for a longer term foster placement for these kids. So we would be absolutely lost without our emergency carers. They tend to be, I guess, people who may be at home during the week as well, who maybe don't work full time, or maybe one person doesn't in the household, because again, you need to be quite readily available, during the week or at night, things like that. So yeah, they're the carers that we call, I guess, every day and ask if they can have a child or sometimes a sibling group that day. So that's our emergency foster care program. We don't have kinship foster care here in WA, managed by Life Without Barriers. The Department of Child Protection, of course, do. But that is when children go to live with kin, with family. So we're in that arrangement with family, but it's still seen as foster care, and they're still supported by the Department of Child Protection in that placement arrangement. And then we have our long-term foster care as well. So really that's for children who are going to be in care until the age of 18. And we have many carers who do that and who've had children and young people for, many years, 10 years, until they reach adulthood. So yeah, a lot of our foster carers do that as well. Heidi, do you want to add anything in there? Did I miss anything? Can't hear her. Sorry, I'm asking Heidi, who's one of our foster carers who's with us here this morning.
I've turned it back on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. That's
okay.
all good.
The only thing is you didn't talk to the short to medium term foster.
I didn't. No, not really. So I suppose some of our children come into care for, they might be under a care order for a 2-year period. So when children come into care, usually first, they will go for a 2-year care order. And that is really to give the parents the opportunity for reunification, to give the child that opportunity as well. So we have many foster carers who take on these children for up to 2 years. Sometimes it might be 12 months, depending on the situation. Yeah. And really the goal is still very much reunification. So it's working very, very closely with the Department of Child Protection and with the families as well and the young person to see if that reunification is going to be an option. So yeah, do you want to add anything to that, Heidi?
Yes, I was just going to say that even though they're labelled as 2-year orders, they can not often, but they do sometimes turn into 18 orders anyway. So I guess if you're going to have a child that is in that situation, you just may need to be prepared that would be a long-term foster situation as well.
Yeah, very much so. And look, some of our emergency foster carers end up having kids long-term as well.
We've got 3.
Yeah, they were all emergency
now.
Yeah, so I guess by the nature of it, sometimes these kids can't return home. They don't find any other family to care for them, and because things are going well, usually in the placement or in the home, the foster carers will say, actually, you know what, these kids can stay long term. So yeah, there's these kind of different types, but it's flexible, and it's very much if it's working, we don't want to move these kids. I suppose the least amount of placement moves that they have to have in their care journey, the better. So yeah, if it's working for everybody, then that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks, Heidi. So what is the Life Without Barriers approach to foster care? So to support the best outcomes for these children, we implement an evidence-informed practice framework, which is guided by 6 principles. So it's called CARE. So these 6 principles, really it's all around being relationships based, and it's all around children needing trusting, meaningful relationships with the adults who care for them. And that's to help them build that emotional and social confidence for their adult life, really. It's about being developmentally focused, so having strategies that match where the child is at in their life. We want to challenge, have strategies that challenge young people a little bit, but they can still be successful. We want to set them up for success. Sorry, everything's freezing on my screen. Apologies. So we want to also be trauma informed. So again, really understanding that these young people have experienced significant trauma in their early lives, and that we understand that that has an impact on their brain, and therefore that we think about that when we're looking at their development and modifying our expectations, interactions in relation to that trauma. And we provide training on all of this as well, just so you know, but we have some slides on that later. So it's about being family involved. I guess a young person is going to always be connected to family in some way. It's part of their identity, their community and their culture. So involving family whenever it is safe to do so is a really important part of that child's well-being and their success as well. So our carers will, quite often facilitate, contact with family, with parents, keep parents involved, in regards to sending photos and updates about the children. I guess when there's a reunification plan in place, they're working alongside the parents and family to make that happen. So yeah, I guess being family involved is very important. It's understanding that, whilst this child comes to live with you and your family, that they also have their own family and their connections and their ties as well, which we need to think about. And also it's around being competency centered, so helping these children develop the skills they need to succeed in their adult lives. And again, being ecologically orientated, so needing a caring and supportive environment with, positive role models to show them how to care for themselves and others. So it's around creating that really, supportive home environment for these children and young people. Okay, some of the reasons why children come into care. Look, there are lots of different reasons. We see a lot of, substance abuse, alcohol and drugs, a lot of domestic violence within the home, neglect, children who've really experienced extreme neglect, abuse, be it, emotional, physical, sexual abuse. And sometimes children have, unfortunately experienced all of the above in their short little lives. So really, understanding that these children come from quite an extreme trauma background, come from all cultural backgrounds as well, but I suppose again emphasizing that, you know, over 60% now of children in care are Aboriginal, and, you know, trying to understand that there is a real intergenerational trauma there as well with the Aboriginal community. So working through that as well. Children in care from 0 to 18 really. So, you know, some children come into care when they're babies, and they remain in the care system until the age of 18 when they leave. And also remember that they still have families who are very important to them, and who they love and who they, you know, want to feel connected to, despite everything, you know, that's happened to them. And I guess also just to remember that just being removed from your family alone can cause that trauma, and coming to live, you know, with a new family, with new foster carers is very, very traumatic and very overwhelming for these children and young people as well. So it really takes time, a lot of time and a lot of patience, and consistency for them to feel safe and secure and of course loved as well. So what's the most important role of foster carers? So we need carers with attributes and beliefs that we know are good for children. So here is where we have a few videos, but like I said, the sound is never great when I go to play these. So I'm wondering, Sharon, can you pop the links for these in the chat box, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. This is my technical expert, Sharon, who always comes on to help. So look, I think it's really, really beneficial to watch some of these videos if you have time afterwards, just to hear from young people who've left care and from our carers as well about their experience. And I'll let Heidi, who's online, talk to that a little bit when I'm finished this presentation as well. So who can be a carer? It's likely that you can be. We have carers who are married, single, living together, divorced, from all backgrounds and cultural backgrounds as well. I guess what we really want is people who are open to learning, and willing to love and nurture a child is what really matters. You must be 21 and over, and again, you know, have some relevant life experience. Experience is desirable, I guess, but not essential, because like I said, we do provide that training. You do need to be well and healthy. Again, from any cultural background, doesn't matter if you're single or in a relationship, have to be willing to undergo background police checks, and you're working with children card as well. So yeah, that's a really important part that we would do first. We have carers who have their own children. We also have carers who don't have their own biological children as well, so that doesn't matter. We do obviously look at the age of your children when placing other kids. So we do like to place children who are younger than your own biological children. Sometimes I guess we're flexible around that when it comes to just respite and short-term placements. But that's really to keep your own biological kids safe. And it's been proven that it works better for your own biological kids as well if the children coming into your home are younger. You need to be active and willing, and complete the required training as well. So part of the assessment process is completing, it's called foster carer preparation training, and that goes through 6 different modules with you to just give you a little bit of preparation for the fostering world. And then we also have quite a lot of training within Life Without Barriers that you can do face-to-face, or also online as well. We have a lot of online modules which are fantastic, which you can do from the comfort of your own home, which is great. Okay, some frequently asked questions. Like I said, feel free to add to these at the end or pop them in the chat box as well, because there's only a couple here. I've already answered that. Of course, you can foster if you're single, couple, same-sex couple. Yes, of course. We value a very diverse foster carer team. And yes, you can foster if you don't have your own children. We will look obviously at your life experience, your work experience, and then make an assessment around what training you might need, or what age child and different things like that would be best suited to you. And great foster carers have these attributes. So I guess if you have these attributes, then yeah, potentially this might be for you. So that's patience and understanding. You need by the bucket load, I think. Acceptance and availability, a commitment to these kids, a flexible approach, some time to give. Like I mentioned, there's the different types of care. So, if you're not able to commit full time, that's okay. And a commitment to maintaining and strengthening family relationships as well. So, yeah, they're really, really important to us. So a little bit about the process. How long does it take? Look, at least 3 months to get started, but we say 3 to 6 months. And that is time we come out and see you. So we do so if you're interested after today, it's likely that you would have a screening interview over the phone. That takes about an hour. And after that, we'll come out to your home and visit you. I don't know what it actually says in this PowerPoint now. I'm just going off the top of my head. But no, look, we come and see you and we basically complete a pre-assessment questionnaire is what we call it. And we also get your police check, working with children in 395 check at that point. And we do a little bit of a home safety check. And I guess that visit is really for us to get to know you a little bit better and for you to get to know us. Ask any questions that you might have and feel like you're fully informed about the process as well. We'll also, I guess, fill out your training application at that point as well, and we'll submit that. So then what usually happens is, if you're still interested and we are happy to proceed as well, we'll get you started with that preparation training. And at the same time, you would be going through your assessment. So the assessment will be one of our assessors would come out and see you and your family about 4 times. And they would go through an assessment manual, which we have, ask you questions about your background, your history, your parenting experience if you're parents. And then it goes through, different case studies to get a sense of how you would respond to a young person coming into your home. And it teaches you a lot more, I guess, about fostering as well as you're going through that process. So then that report is written up and it goes to our panel who make a decision on the approval. And then from there, you would become a foster carer. So depending what you wanted to do then, if it was full time, we'd probably start talking to you about referrals that we have for young people. Or if it's, an emergency carer, then yeah, you'll start getting phone calls as well about those young people. You'll be allocated a caseworker. So every family has a caseworker allocated to them. So they will support you with your fostering journey, really. And there's a whole range of other supports as well available to our foster care families. About the support, we have a slide. Great. So look, we like our carers to not feel alone in their journey and to feel like we're here to support you. So there is a lot of training, like I mentioned, available to you, be it face-to-face and online. Some of that is mandatory before you start. We do have a 24/7 on-call service as well. So all of our caseworkers are on call as well. They take turns being on call. So there's always someone at the other end of the phone. There is financial support. So you do receive a financial reimbursement to cover the costs of caring for the child. Specialist support. So that's various different things, such as we do have a team of clinicians who support with like behavior management, behavior support type things. So if you had a child in your care who was displaying some challenging behavior related to their past trauma, and you were kind of struggling and didn't know how to manage that, we do have a team of people who are there and available to assist you with that. As well as a team who, you know, continually recruit and assess carers to make sure that you potentially get the respite as well. So if you had a child who potentially, you know, had some, I guess, some complex needs, then you would most definitely get respite as well, so that you'd have that break. And our carer networking as well. It's been a little bit difficult this year. But really, it's really important to us that carers are getting together and forming those networks amongst yourselves. So we do like to have morning teas and events for carers. And we've also just recently recruited some carer ambassadors. So they'll really champion that and make sure that all carers are feeling connected and feeling supported. And Heidi can talk to a little bit more of this at the end, but we really I guess support the foster carers, supporting other foster carers through their journey, because you know, I guess foster carers themselves only know how challenging the role can be at times, and are really a fantastic support to each other. Okay, so that's just a little bit about our Mockingbird family model, which is still very much in the implementation stages, but again, it's around foster carers supporting other foster carers and having little community hubs where we can, you know, where we have a carer who really supports and nurtures the other foster placements in that area. Okay, so if you'd like to continue the conversation, and if you're interested after this presentation, our website is a really great resource if you haven't been on there. If you'd like to proceed with your application, you can call the team on the 1300 number, or email them as well. Or if you have more questions after today's session that we don't get to in the chat, or you feel more comfortable just ringing me afterwards to have a bit of a chat about that, then I've just left my mobile number there as well. So I'll just leave them up there for you to take down if you want. And what I might do is see if anyone has any questions. And then maybe Heidi, you might like to maybe tell us a little bit about your fostering journey with Life Without Barriers.
Sure. Now?
Yeah, sure. Because my computer's totally freezing. I'm trying to find the chat box.
I know, and your voice is out of sync with your picture.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. That's very annoying. Okay. I hate when that happens.
Okay, so my husband and I have been with Life Without Barriers for just over 10 years. And we currently have 6 children in our home permanently. And they range from 18 months through to nearly 15. We do have 2 sibling groups as well. I think if you're going to take anything from this, is just to give it a go. And I think your biggest attribute that you can have as a carer is patience, because these children are really challenging and through no fault of their own, but they are going to test you every day. Do you love me? Are you still going to be there for me tomorrow? So it's just to be patient. And they're all different, but the trauma is trauma. just be patient and love them, and be really consistent. So we've our children have all arrived to us at different ages and stages. Some of them came when they were nearly teenagers, so that's a little bit challenging. And then the twins came to us as brand new babies, and then all in between that. We also do respite on weekends, so we've got 2 more coming this weekend for respite. And through that, I'm able to support carers, which I really, really am passionate about, only because we've had the experience to bounce off them and help them with some advice and just listen. Sometimes we just need to listen. So I really enjoy that. And I hope to be, I don't know when I'm ever going to stop doing this. I just hope to be loving my children forever. And I hope I get to meet more lovely little souls that come into our home. What else do I need to say, Kate?
I don't know. I think that was great. Does anyone have any questions for Heidi?
Okay, let me add too, when we go back to the family relationships, sorry, I just think that is horrendously important. These little children, despite whatever they've been through, still crave their families. So it's dinner conversation at our table. We talk about mums and dads. We have photos of families up in their bedrooms. You know what? We still have them every single day, but we still form relationships with their families and try and maintain that as best as possible. It's so important for the children. We aren't out there to replace their mum and dad. We just tell them how lucky they are that they've got 2 mums and 2 dads, or whatever your dynamic is. I think that's really important, that you don't ever try and disassociate them from where they've come from, despite whatever they've been through.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Yeah.
Heidi, do you have your own children, and did they at all, like, did they suffer in sort of terms with all these other kids coming into your family, or?
So we had our 2 youngest children still, between Mark and I, we've got 7, and we still had our 2 youngest children at home when we started our journey. And our youngest was 9 at the time, and the next one was 13. If anything, it's made them advocates for wanting to do it too. So most of the children that we had coming in were younger, and I think that was a really important thing that Kate said. So we were still able to spend some really quality one-on-one time with our older children, because the younger children would go to bed, and then we'd spend time in the evenings with our children. And we'd also sometimes put our foster children into respite while we took our bigger children away for the weekend, our own children away for the weekend. So, you know, you can manage it if you do it well. But no, I don't ever remember a time where our boys have ever really struggled with that. It's just been, they've been very inclusive, and I feel as a parent that it's probably one of the best things that I could have given them, the experience to accept children from all walks of life and trauma backgrounds. Yeah.
Sorry, one more question. You said that you guys go on holidays and stuff. Are you able to take the foster care babies with you? Like, for example, we do go away a lot camping and things like that. And are you able to do that, or?
Very much so.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, they just need to
what
be
we encourage.
Your family. Yeah. And we've travelled, we've taken our children overseas to multiple countries. They've all got passports and locally as well. You know, they just need to be in a family, just like normal. They need all the same experiences. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and look, I mean, it's very much encouraged, it's very much supported. The only thing, and it's clearly not an issue at the moment, but it's sometimes the overseas trips. We just need a little bit more notice and more planning, because
Yeah.
sometimes these kids don't have passports, so we need to get parents'
Yeah.
permission to get passports.
Yeah.
And you might need to give a full kind of itinerary of where you're staying to us, just so we know. But no, it's very much supported and encouraged,
Yeah.
that these kids,
Yeah.
and our kids have traveled the world. They really have, and it actually, I love that they've had those experiences and they've got to see, to see the world with their foster carers and families. It's, that really, as a travel lover myself, that warms my heart as well. So fingers crossed there'll be more of that soon.
Yeah.
But camping weekends, everything. We've got, very adventurous carers who actually, head out a lot at the weekends, and kids are very much part of that. Any other questions?
I sort of don't have a question. Hello?
Hi, Helena?
Yeah, I've been foster carer for many years in the past, and actually had teenage children and as well as young children, and brought in teenage children, which was a bit complicated because I had younger children and these kids were trauma affected and sexually abused, and it did wear onto my own children as well. And I didn't have the care factor like Life Without Barriers. I had DCP. Which didn't happen. But now I have grandchildren, great grandchildren, but I'm by myself and just want to go back into it. And I don't know really whether I really want to. I want to do disability respite with Indigenous. Yeah, because I've got a very diverse family. I have a diverse family. Yeah, and I've been training as a support worker.
Okay.
Yeah, with disability, and that's where I want to focus myself. So after the seminar and everything else, I will get in contact for that final.
Please do. Yeah, please do. No, we very much need respite carers for our children with disabilities. Many of whom are Indigenous. Yeah, very much so. So it's definitely a need we have. And I'm sorry that you had a challenging experience. And I suppose, just to reiterate, that is why we really do try and place younger children than your own biological children, is because I guess we've all learned over time that, fostering, whilst it does have a very positive impact on a lot of biological children, it can have a negative impact depending on their age at the time when the children come into your home. And the children and their trauma history as well. So I guess for us, the research is there that when the foster children are younger, there's much less impact and damage caused to your biological children, most definitely so.
Yeah, I feel like I know Heidi. Why?
I don't know.
Must have been to a few things together or something.
You've probably been to lots of foster care gatherings and things like that.
I think so. Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions or comments, or? Did you find this useful? Was it informative?
Yeah.
I have a million questions.
Well, look, feel free to ask.
Sorry, I came in a little bit late. I actually work as a support worker, so I was in between clients originally. One of my questions is, we're a defence family, but we're in Submarine, so we're stuck in Western Australia. We've been here for 8 years. We don't plan on moving. Are you reluctant to place children in foster carers where there's one parent that does come and go?
Where one parent comes and goes, like works away, do you mean?
Yeah, so like my husband's a submariner, so I mean, for the last 18 months,
I missed the first bit of what you said. Apologies.
Sorry, yeah. So for the last 18 months, he's been at home, but it looks like he'll be going to sea at some point next year. So their schedules always change. Sometimes it's a week,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a few weeks that they're away. Are you reluctant to place children in homes like that just because obviously they've had enough coming and goings in their life?
Look, no, not necessarily. Again, it would really come down to that placement matching and the child, the specific child.
Yeah.
I mean, if we thought that this was going to have a huge impact on a child, we'd make that decision before we speak to you about that young person.
Okay.
But no, not really, because your husband's still going to be very much a part of the family even when he is away. And I'm sure there's Skype and there's Zoom and there's everything as well. So,
oh, not on submarines, there's not.
oh yeah, sorry, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But
don't worry, our own kids struggle enough with that when they're away. So that's why, like, it's
yeah,
talked about. But I mean, we talked about it a few years ago, and then we kind of just pushed it under the rug because we just assumed that it would be too hard. Like, if our kids struggle when they're away, it would be even harder if other children were there and they were not used to the comings and goings.
Yeah, and look, I think it's definitely something to consider, and of course it's an added challenge, but it definitely wouldn't preclude you from becoming a foster carer.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And it's very important, I guess, that children in care at least have that one consistent person. So that would be you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We don't have any carers in exactly that same situation, but we do have quite a lot of FIFO partners who come and go. So again, that's just something that we consider when placing the children. And we think,
I did look on the Defence Facebook page, and there does seem to be a lot of people who are on Surface Fleet who do foster or have fostered previously. So we own our own house and stuff, so having extra rooms and stuff is not an issue because we own our house and we've got the room and things like that. So yeah, that was mainly my question.
Yeah. No, that would be great. We'd still love to hear from you.
Cool, thank you.
And poor Catherine has laryngitis. I'm sorry to hear that, Catherine. You're wondering how many Aboriginal children end up in long-term care with non-Indigenous carers. Statistics-wise, that's kind of difficult for me to say. But look, quite a few do. We will always try and place these children with Indigenous carers. But recruiting Indigenous carers is extremely challenging. And unfortunately, sometimes there just isn't always there aren't enough. But it's very much a priority to try and focus on that wherever possible. If it's not going to be possible, then we would try and potentially have Indigenous respite carers, or we would have the children and young people sometimes are placed off country as well. And that might be due to, a significant disability and stuff, which can't be supported in the community they're from. But that for us is a real, we often bring kids back to country. It's something that we do every school holidays. And we have, we have cultural support coordinators as well. And all our kids have cultural support.
And I also think as long as carers that we are culturally educated to support our children, I think that helps enormously as well.
It does, yeah. I mean, look, it's not ideal, it's not perfect, but yeah, we do. No. We assess all of our foster carers against a cultural competency now as well. So we make sure that, I guess, our carers have as much knowledge as we can give them, and a lot of that is attitude as well, and willingness to learn, and to, like Heidi said, to keep family very much alive, and that's keeping culture very much alive in your day-to-day life as well. Catherine, you probably can't answer because of your laryngitis, but I hope that answers it for you. Sorry, Heidi, go on.
I was just going to say, and when we talk of family, it doesn't necessarily mean the parents, because we have children that we have contact with their extended family. So there's grandparents and aunts and uncles, because the parents don't want to engage for whatever their reasons are. And that's fine. I just think that we just need to keep their families become our families too. We're loving their children.
Very much so, very much so. And it may not be safe for the kids or for you to have contact with mom and dad. But again, it might be grandparents or siblings. There might be other siblings out there in care as well in different foster placements. So yeah, it's around that wider family group.
Yeah.
Hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, feel free to message back again. Oh, great. Also, what are the parameters around caring for a baby? I'm not really sure what you mean around parameters. We do have some carers who, care for babies, and we do get referrals for babies, but not, I suppose, every day, not as often as the department probably would. So I guess if you're really focused on just caring for babies, you might be better off having a chat with the Department of Child Protection around maybe becoming a carer with them. Like I've got 2 baby twins, and we do have quite a lot of referrals now for little ones, particularly 0 to 3. A lot of them come through emergency foster care, and also the temporary medium-term foster care we talked about. Because of their young age, the goal is very much to still try and either reunify with mom and dad or place with other family. So, the likelihood of a referral for a baby coming through, and the referral being from up to 18, is not the norm. It's unlikely. Okay.
Sorry, can I just add in there, Kate, please? Because we brought our 2 babies. Sorry. We brought our twins home when they were 38 weeks, and we brought them straight home from hospital. What that does involve is a substantial amount more work, not only because you have babies, but there's a lot more contact involved with the parents because they're trying to keep that relationship and the bond quite close. So that it can often be up to 5 days a week. So it can be quite demanding on you and your family and the babies. It's quite unsettling because they're in and out of the house quite a bit and out of routine. We were the ones that our babies came in on an 18-year order application. They still don't have orders at nearly 20 months now, actually. But I just want to let you know that can involve a lot more work and a lot more emotional investment when they're so little, but so totally worth it.
Wow.
And in regards to the age limit, again, that really depends on the type of care that you want to do as well. So I suppose if it's emergency, it's different. It's also not just about age, it's about, health, ability, and then matching that with the needs of the child, because, some of our kids are, goodness me, they bounce off the walls, so you'd struggle to keep up with them, in your 30s or 40s. So, it's not, we don't have an age limit as such. But we would very much take a carer's age into consideration. For example, if we had, 2 little ones aged 2 and 3, and they're in care until they're 18, we're not going to place them with carers in their 60s potentially who might not be able to care for them until they're 18. But again, it really just depends on the, on the young people as well, and on the carers.
That's what I was going to ask. But what age limit, like the carers are, your requirements for them, and that. Because I'm 60 this year.
Yeah, and look, we have plenty of carers who are 60s, 60 plus, in their 60s. We have a few in their 70s. But really, it's around making sure that we're making the best decision for these young people, for these children. It would not be fair for us to place young children with aging carers who aren't able to do all the things that they should be doing with them, running around in the park with them,
Oh my
but by
goodness.
all means, it doesn't stop you. It doesn't stop you at 60 applying, because it really would just, we would talk to you about the types of placements and the children and see what would fit in with your lifestyle. And Jesus, some 60-year-olds are healthier and fitter than I am. So honestly, it really just, we're not we don't have very black and white, I guess, rules around that stuff.
Yeah.
And we also have to remember that some little ones that are coming in on 2-year orders. So there's a really big hope for reunification.
Yeah.
So I think what you can give a child in that time, mainly attachment, is just so vitally important, is to teach them that, and then work with the parents for them to go home. I just think that doesn't matter what age you are.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't, not at all.
I would like to see children be able to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we.
I think that's
So
the end goal for most of us, but some of us see both sides. We do see both sides of the picture, and some of them are eye openers, and you just know that it's really not safe for the children to go home.
Yeah.
And yes, and sometimes it's not, and it's not in some children's best interest then to go home when it's not safe to do so. But it's making sure that we've given the family, every opportunity. And I guess, for us, we work really, really closely with the Department of Child Protection and with the case managers there on that, because, it is really important to us. And really the child is, our center focus as well. So advocating for the child, if reunification isn't going well, or, if we have concerns, it's speaking up about that as well. It's our job to keep these kids safe.
Yeah.
Is there a high? Sorry.
No, you
Yeah,
go.
go on.
Is there a high percentage of children that end up staying in until they're 18, or is it most likely that kids will go back to their families?
There isn't actually any recent stats around that. A lot of the time, look, quite a few children do go home. That's a really good question. I don't have any statistics.
Unless they're a ward of the state, is that right?
Yeah, well, the children become, I guess, a ward of the state anyway, but there's different order time frames. So some children just come in, for 12 months, some up to 2 years, and then sometimes that 2 years could even be extended again. So you might have another 2 years, and really the department then would only go for an 18 order if they really felt that going home wasn't an option for these children. And then would put out an order until 18 for them.
Can you foster kids that are looking for lifers? So obviously the goal is for them to go back to their families, but is there a long-term foster where they don't go back?
Yeah, so look, permanent, yeah, very much so. So we do have carers who have children under 18 orders, and they will have them until they're 18. But I guess what we need to remember then as well is, even though these children are not returning to their families, you still need to try and keep them connected to family. So they might still have visits with family, and even if they don't have visits, it's around still, I guess, keeping that family alive for that child or young person, even though they won't be returning home. The likelihood is when they turn 18 and they leave your care, they'll go back to family.
Yeah.
We have to give them the skills to be able to go back. Yeah.
And keep themselves safe, really, when they go back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have anything against, like I was placed in DCP and foster care? Do you have anything against people that are actually being through foster care themselves as young people?
No, we don't. No.
Not going to raise any red flags.
Yeah, look, some people have honestly got, some amazing, some, life experiences themselves, which really, I guess, only add to their level of empathy and skill for the children that, you know, are in their care. For all sits around making sure that, I guess, carers have worked through their own childhood trauma, and have their own coping mechanisms and self-care strategies, so that, you know, caring for these kids won't then trigger something in them. You know, so it's around us looking after our carers as well. So, you know, for people who have had quite a traumatic childhood themselves, it's making sure that they've got that support and those mechanisms in place.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions or anything? You've still got the details. Can you still see the details on the screen, the website and the phone number and everything? Is that still there?
I'm going to try and get this up.
Yeah, so look, and feel free to reach out and give me a call if you have any other questions. Or you just wanted more of a chat privately around whether or not it would be suitable for you. Or there was a call me back form as well in the chat which Sharon added in. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you just click on that and put in your details, someone will call you back.
I'm trying to screenshot it, hey. It's not working.
It's not working. Let me see. Dun, dun, dun. My computer's really playing up today.
Mine works.
Yours works? Okay, I'll copy it again for you.
I've got it on the phone. It's just I'm not. Oh.
Oh, somehow I've opened it myself.
Kate, is there any chance of you sending it to my email?
Sure. Speaking Helena? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. I'm afraid I'm 60 this year and it was a bit technology to me.
Sharon, the lovely Sharon will email you the details after the session. So she'll email you everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, right.
So, I can't message you back, but that's a yes to your question.
Okay.
Thank you.
What is the next step then after obviously today's happened, and then what do we do next?
So like I said, if you want to call back, feel free to click on the form, and someone will call you back and go through that initial phone screening with you. If you're still a little bit unsure, feel free to give myself a call. And look, if you would like to maybe even speak to Heidi privately as well around, you know, her perspective as a foster carer, just let me know, and I can link that up for you as well. So really, it depends how you feel after this session, whether you're ready to take the next step or you'd like to talk it through some more. If you're ready,
I just have one question.
Click on the form. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We're renting and our lease is up in February, so we'll be looking for a new home. Obviously, with rentals, once your lease is up, you have to move or you can renew your lease. Are the kids, like, obviously they're staying with you, but does that affect your chances by being in a rental?
Good
No,
question.
no, we have lots of carers and rentals.
And even if you have your own children and you're moving house to house, it's the same thing. You're still there with them. You are their constant, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
And I think you're teaching them more resilience by giving them change.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you just mean around the home site, we can come out and meet with you. We would just obviously need to come see you then again in February when you move to do the home safety. You know, and we would, you know, obviously you'd be moving to a house that would be, you know, hopefully safe for children. So yeah, just something to consider. But yeah, that's it. It doesn't preclude you from starting the process now if you're interested and keen to get started, because we can do the training and the assessment piece and just add in that home safety then once you move.
I've already done a 45-minute talk to somebody on the phone that was in the eastern states. Yeah, and they were meant to be putting my forward. So for a team over in WA.
Is that Helena? Is that who's
Yeah.
talking? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you haven't. When did you do that? Was that recently?
Yeah, probably around about 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay. I'll check if you've come through to us yet. So basically there's a whole team of people, and they're based throughout Australia, because we obviously have foster care throughout the whole country. They work on a roster system, so they do the initial phone screening, and that's really just again to see if you're suitable. But yeah, then basically that's sent to our team, so to myself and the care engagement officer, and then from there we contact you to arrange that.
Okay, because I'm in the southwest. Yeah.
I want you could already be on our list, but if not, I would imagine you're on the way. I can follow up with that, Helena, because
that's why I thought.
People. Yeah,
yeah,
I think you could be on the list already. Yeah.
Yeah, I was invited to the webinar, and I thought that, oh well, that's it. The team's got in touch with me. So yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, I just have another question.
Yeah, of course.
And I've just forgotten it. Oh, sorry. I'm in the southwest as well. Obviously, there's not. I can't even think of a way to word it. Are there a few cases in the southwest? Is there a lot of cases in the southwest?
Yes, lots.
Yeah, lots of children in care in the southwest. Yeah.
Okay.
And we have an office. We actually have an office, which I should have mentioned as well. We have an office in Bunbury, and we also have one in Margaret River. We have an office then in Leaderville in Perth, and then we're in Kalgoorlie and Broome as well. So yeah, we're quite spread out, but we do have a local team in the southwest. Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine.
Awesome.
Catherine, you're talking about trying to get carers for Broome and Kalgoorlie, and like residential carers that have to move. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I was thinking about that in the first place.
We're trying to recruit in Metro actually and the southwest for Broome and Kalgoorlie, because we're really struggling with our carer recruitment up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone feels like moving to Broome or Cal, give me a shout.
Broome, take me away. No.
Yeah, we're trying to sell the Cable Beach and the camels picture to people, hoping that might interest them.
So what do we have to do?
Coming into wet season now, so I'm not sure if you'd want to be there. It'll be a bit sticky for the next few months.
Yeah. Is that permanent, or is that just like, fly in, fly out sort of thing?
Both. So we're looking for people to relocate there, but we're also looking for people who really can go up when we need respite or an emergency care.
Work in residential.
It's in a family group home, so it's up to 4 children. It's in a department. It's in a department house, which we run basically, and we have foster carers in there. So it's still a volunteer foster care model, but it obviously you're not caring in your own home. So the home and the utilities and the car and vehicle and all that stuff are provided to you. And really you move into the home for, up to 10 days, and then you'd have a break. And care for 4 children. Sometimes large sibling groups, but yeah, sometimes they can be unrelated as well.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%
Sounds very interesting.
Children in our homes. Yeah. Again, these kids have, experienced significant trauma, are cut off from their family, but, family quite often live down the street or, You know, in remote communities, it's or regional towns, it's difficult because family are very much still there. So it is a challenging role, but it's one that's very rewarding as well. And yeah, we are always looking for carers to do that as well. So if that's something you're interested in, then yes, I would also love to hear from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, we quite often fly carers up from Perth when we need cover for a few weeks and things like that. So yeah.
I grew up around Yamaji's.
Ah.
Yeah, Yamaji people. So yeah.
We've got some beautiful kids in the house. The houses up there. But yeah, some significant trauma. Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, I might let you all go. Thank you so much for your time. And like I said, if you would like to get a call back, just click on the form, or else feel free to give me a call. Or I can link you up with Heidi if you'd like to talk to her some more. And yeah, we hope to hear from you.
Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, Heidi.
Thank
No
you.
worries. Okay.
Bye,
See ya.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.